Hey, what's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So today we're going to be going over the seven-figure niche and positioning playbook. Alrighty, super excited for this one. And so I'm going to share my screen here, and while I do, I'm going to show you guys the playbook we're going to be going over. What I would like you to do is comment the word live if you're here live, and if you're watching the replay, drop the word replay. And let me just pull up this resource right here. And it would be helpful to drop a one if you can see what I'm going over here. So what we're going to be going over, you guys, is how to pick a seven-figure niche and make sure that your positioning is on point. Now, this is also going to be extremely helpful if you've already decided on a niche of people you want to work with and you're not 100% sure if it's the right one, or you want more certainty. Alrighty. So if you want this resource that I'm going to be going over, comment the word niche below and I'll DM it to you later today. And also, if you want a bonus list of 300 profitable coaching niches that are working in 2025, comment the word 300, not the word, the number 300, and I'll send it your way. All right. By the way, I always love to know where you guys are tuning in from. So also let me know what country, what state, where you're at. What's up, Lala? Live, awesome, and you can see the screen. Cool, good stuff. So yeah, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. So today I'm gonna walk through this playbook here. It's called the Seven-Figure Niche and Positioning Playbook, and really just show you by the end of this training, so you have more clarity around who you help, what it is you do, and why people should choose you over the sea of millions of other coaches out there. Okay. So you're going to get an opportunity to fill this out as we go. And of course, if you're hitting the replay, then you can pause and complete it as well. But by the end of this, the goal is to have your niche and your positioning statement done. And I'll explain to you guys what those mean, right? Like, what does niche and positioning actually mean? Because those words get thrown a lot around a lot online, especially by consultants and business coaches and stuff. And you might be like, what the hell does that even mean with the positioning thing, right? So let's go over it. But before we do that, I'm going to go through this step by step, through this quick training. But I also want to show you, where does this whole thing even fall in place with the niche and the positioning, right? Because with like the Impact Accelerator, the system that we help our clients implement is the client conveyor belt. And its only job, its goal is to get clients, because your zone of genius is helping people. It's not the whole front end craziness of marketing and content and messaging and all that stuff, right? So we want to make that streamlined. But in order to create a conveyor belt, a process where people find you consistently, there are going to be foundational things you need to have in place. And hopefully, some of you already have some clarity on who you want to help, how you help them, and what it is that people actually get from working with you. But we want to make sure those things are super clear, right? Because even if you have the best process or method of getting clients online in 2025, if you're not clear on your messaging, your dream clients are not going to be clear as well. Okay. So for those of you that are new here, my name is Max, right? Short for Maximilian. And yes, that is an actual Polish name my parents gave me. We can go by Max. And so what we do is we help coaches and consultants here attract clients, connect with them, and enroll them consistently so that they can create predictable sales. And so majority of the coaches we've helped, like, they create incredible results once we implement this client conveyor belt method, right? Like Dawn, for example, first week implementing the client conveyor belt, $1,600 client paid in full, right? Or Chris, an anxiety and nervous system coach, he did 4K in a day with the client conveyor belt, right? Or Crystal, who's a hypnotherapist, enrolled $4,500 worth of clients within a week. and many others you guys can check out on my Instagram, hear their stories and how it's worked for them. But essentially, before we go into the niche and positioning, just want to blow out like a big picture of how this actually works, right? The client conveyor belt. It's very, very simple. And this is where the most of today's training is going to go into the attract, right? Because your niche and your positioning, if you have those clear and on point, it will help you attract many more leads and many more clients every single week and every single day. All right. And so part of the process when we craft a one simple reel that we then launch as an ad uh, to the world, right, is to have very clear messaging and a very specific niche. So we'll go through that. So once people come in, like we create a reel, we put that out there in the world, the right people find us, then we get them into our world where we connect with them, right, with the right kind of content that warms them up. IG stories, that is where we do most of our offers and our selling. And then what we do, this is the nitty gritty, is we're using our retargeting ad to get back in front of those same people who entered our world and getting them to inquire. Then we implement the convos to calls framework. People start reaching out. We have a specific framework of questions that we ask them to qualify them and also to get them to book those discovery calls consistently. And then we jump on discovery calls with our Socratic sales framework and then roll them as high paying hypnosis, coaching, NLP clients. Okay. So that is the process. So now let's get into the niching. All right. Like how we actually niche down our message that when we create this reel and we put it out there with the right, I call them the launch codes, that it actually gets people to respond. All right. So let's hop back over here and focus step by step on this. All right. So what we're going to do here is, first of all, let me go through why this actually, I'm kind of explained why it matters, right? But the main thing that I'm seeing online, and I speak with awesome coaches every single day, right? In my DMs, on Zoom discovery calls, every day, new people, right? New coaches. And one thing I've noticed is that a lot of them struggle with explaining what they do clearly. So I hear things like this all the time, right? Like, I don't know how to explain what it is I do in a way that people will understand it or get it. I want to help everyone, but I know I need to niche down. I'm not sure if my message is landing for people. I love it, but I don't know if it lands for people, right? So this, what we're gonna do, this is gonna help that. Let me just check Facebook. Okay, Lala, yeah, I'll send those over to you a little bit later today here. So we're gonna fix those things here, right? Because when your messaging is clear, your clients are just naturally gonna come in faster. But when it's vague and it's unclear even for you, well, it's gonna be unclear for your clients. They're just gonna scroll right past, okay? So now, before we get into this, I wanna make sure you guys are clear, right? Because this training is around clarity. So let's go through a couple basic definitions with words you probably have been thrown around online, but just to get that, make sure that you're clear on these, right? So what is a niche? Okay. Like not like before we do anything tactical, like what is a niche? Your niche isn't some abstract thing or an entity or a place, right? It's a specific person that you help. And not just the specific person you help, but the specific problem that you help them solve. So it's not just women or busy moms, right? It's really somebody that you deeply understand. Most likely because you've lived through the same pains that they have too, right? And the second is what is positioning. So positioning is simply put how you show up online and how you're positioned online so that your dream clients can instantly see that you're the right fit. Okay. It's what gets people saying, she gets me or he gets me. This is the person I've been looking for. Okay. Very, very important is your positioning online, because even if you have the best kind of coaching or method or healing, whatever it is you do, if you don't have the positioning, people won't be able to find you. right? Because there's a sea of coaches out there, but you positioning yourself correctly in a way they are clear, that is clear for your clients, is how you will stand out in the sea of coaches. So let's get to this. The next step is the clarity code. So now you're probably asking, Max, how do I create this proper messaging, this positioning? Like, how do we do that? So what I like to use for this is what I call with my clients, the clarity code, right? And the goal of this is to create clear messaging that converts, meaning converts new eyeballs into new clients. And there's 3 simple prompts to this you can see here, right? Who you help, what pain do they have, and what outcome do they deeply want? So we're going to fill these in one by one. So let's go to the first, which is the who. And it's funny because I listened to this Mongolian metal band called the Who, so that's pretty funny. But the who, meaning like who it is that you help. So most coaches do this way too broad, and also for hypnotherapists, way too broad. They're just afraid to go deeper, right? So that they just keep it more on the surface. But the best shortcut I can give you is really just simply, you might want to write this down, is ask yourself, who was I 2 to 3 years ago? Because that version of you, that is your ideal client. Maybe you're going through hell before you got into coaching and hypnotherapy. Maybe it was 10 years ago, right? Maybe you've been in the game longer. Whatever that point in time where you were going through a really tough time before you got into coaching, and that was your solution, who were you then? Who was that version of you? All right. And so the prompt here, based on that, right? Or if you are in a niche or you're wanting to pick a niche you're really passionate about, but it's not you, but you've helped people in that space, who were your clients before they found you 2 to 3 years ago, right? And then you're going to write out, I help specific person. You're going to fill that in step by step, right? We eat an elephant biting one chunk at a time. So this is the first step. I help which kind of person? Here's an example for you. I help high functioning women who struggle with anxiety, right? Or struggle with burnout, XYZ, whatever that thing is. So you can put that in there. Okay. So write yours down. And if you're on the replay, you can pause this, write it, and then unpause after 10 seconds. Now, let's go on to the second one. So we just did who it is you help. Now let's do what pain they know they have. Now there's a very important thing in the details here, you guys. What pain do they know they have? What is the pain that they are aware of? Okay. And the reason this is so important is because, you know, it's important to speak to people in a way that they understand every day, right? So we're talking about pain here that they are consciously aware of. Because you want to remember that people don't buy coaching. They don't just wake up at 3 a.m. and be like, I want to pay a coach 2K today, right? Or 5K or 10K. People buy coaching, but they, more importantly, they buy specific coaches who they know and they feel can help them get relief from something they can name. Okay. So I want you to write down for the next part, who's struggling with blank pain, right? And make sure that these are tangible pains, not some, you know, kind of like fairy dust, like up in the air type stuff, right? But very specific, like real pain. For example, who's struggling with panic attacks at work, or who's overthinking and stuck in their head, right? Very, very specific. So what would your ideal client type in at, for example, 2 a.m., right? Put yourself in their shoes. What wakes them up and they're like, just, they type it in, they're looking for a solution to it. So I want you to write that down here. And then the third part is, what outcome do they deeply want, right? Not what outcome you want for them, But what outcome do they want? And so let's move over to this slide here. Okay, to the next one. So what is their dream? Like, what is their desired outcome? Something I do with my clients is something called hybrid market research, where we actually go and interview specific people in the space, right, who are actually struggling with these issues, right? And then we use AI to create a client avatar document for them. And one of the most important things I tell my clients to go and ask those people is, what is the outcome? What is the outcome that these people want? Because oftentimes, for us as coaches, a lot of coaches are very sensitive and creative type people, and we're just going to fantasize about what our clients want. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to put our stuff into our clients' heads, right? We want to just show them that we understand what they're saying. So with that said, if you've already worked with clients, put in what they wrote. If you haven't, then we should probably talk, because you want to do some real market research with your audience to make sure this lands. So once your people are out of pain, what do they want to experience? What do they want to feel or have that's tangible? Okay. So the third prompt I want you to fill in is, so they can finally tangible emotional result, or real world desired result here. A couple examples for you. So they can finally feel calm and in control again. So they can finally trust themselves and feel at peace in their bodies. Okay. Depending on the niche, this is going to be specific to you. And this is where your offer really begins to resonate with people, because now you've focused completely on them, who they help, what pain they know they have, and what outcome they know they deeply want. Right? Can you see how that would be already 10 times different than all the sea of other coaches out there with very vague, ambiguous messaging? And that is one of the key steps why the conveyor belt works so quick. It's because we focus on that message being exactly what people are saying already in their heads. Okay. That is how these right here, when you look at these, all these inquiries clients get, change, info, blah, 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 that people message my clients with their word, right? It's because the message is not made up. It's what people have said. All right, so the next step here is positioning. So what I want to talk about is like, why you, right? Why you? So once someone says, when they hear your message and it lands for them, they're going to say, this is exactly what I need. In the back of their head, they're going to also think, why should I choose this person? And this is where your positioning does a hell of a lot of the heavy lifting. Okay. What I mean by that is your positioning can come out in three ways. So it can be either your own story of transformation, showing those people that you've lived through what they're going through, right? You know what they're going through, which makes you more relatable. Or just your style, maybe your unique vibe, or your approach to things, right? Maybe you have a direct way of coaching where you're more intuitive, or maybe you're more science backed, right? You're focused on the studies and sharing those things with people. And then also your mechanism. So your modalities, right? Not hypnotherapy, your coaching, or NLP, but your own method or framework of helping people. So the thing is, you don't need to be more loud online. You just need to be more clear. And this is how you would do it. This is how you will position yourself as that one person that can help these people. Okay. So now let's put it all to pieces, all the pieces together. Let's finish the puzzle. So all those three statements you wrote down, let's put them into practice. So I help specific person who's struggling with specific pain, so they can get specific outcome that's tangible. Remember, tangible outcome. Okay, let's go over a couple examples so this hits home for you. So I help here, for example, I help high achieving women with hidden anxiety, right? For example, or I don't really like myself the word anxiety. I would put with chronic, with constant, chronic, very painful, right? Chronic anxiety, who feel emotionally exhausted and stuck in overthinking so they can finally feel calm, clear, and at peace with their body and mind. Boom, right? That is very specific, it's very clear, and it's based on what people say to themselves, right? So that is how we craft our 7-figure niche and positioning, right? If you want this playbook, comment the word niche below. And if you feel like you're more of a, you want more examples and such, then I have a list of 300 profitable niches that we've scraped from the internet. And those are good for 2025. If you want that, comment the word, comment the number 300, and I'll send those over to you. All right. And if you want help turning this, what we just went over, your niche and your messaging into a really, what we call a grand slam offer and a content system that gets inquiries daily, if you want to learn more about the client conveyor belt and see if it's the thing that will help you get to where you're wanting to go with your business, then drop the word BIZ below, biz. And then we can do a 10 to 15 minute brainstorm, a biz brainstorm, and we can map out a game plan for you to see if what we do could help. Alrighty? All right, y'all, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and we will, next week, we're gonna be going over actually crafting offers and creating programs and packages. So I will create an event for that and I will send those over to you and we shall talk next week. Talk to y'all then. Have a good one. Cheers.